the world, from whichever time zone you're catching me from. My name is MD90 and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notification to all so that you do not miss any upload that comes up on the channel. And the easiest way for you to navigate the channel, because we put out a lot of content, is head to the playlist and you'll find all various things that we're doing here curated for you based on your interests. So we've got the Kutka podcast, we've got the Tishimi production. These are movies, actually, short movies that you can find on that playlist, and news and trends. We do a lot. Well, there's an update with regard to what's happening in South Africa in relation to the late President Edgar Lungu's case. So, as you may be aware, last Friday, the man that you see on screen, the Edgar Lungu lawyer, made a statement in court where he was saying the Zambian government and the Lungu family were having a discussion. So he applied for the court to give them time, which is a weekend, the one that has just passed, for them to either iron out their differences, and the possibility today, yesterday, was simply supposed to get that's on Monday, a verification whether the Lungu family and the government have come to an agreement and the body be repatriated to Zambia. But the weekend passed, and I gave you an update to say nothing had come of that discussion. Initially, I thought maybe they had decided to say they keep everything off the media until it is announced in court. So we're expecting for them to come and announce to say either the Zambian government and the Lungu family have come to an agreement and the body will be repatriated to Zambia, or some sort of update. But it just went quiet and nothing happened, and in court, nothing was updated, which brings up to the point to say the lawyer from the Lungu family was simply trying to buy himself time for him to understand the case and prepare his argument. And that played out in court. It seems like that's exactly what he was doing. He just needed more time for him to bring his arsenal yesterday in court. And the case seems to have taken a different turn as of right now. Because ideally, you are aware from what was announced on Friday was that if they do not come to an agreement over the weekend, that's on Saturday and Sunday, on Monday, the court was going to make a verdict whether the appeal case that the Lungu family had filed after the government had won the case, you remember, was going to be proceed or thrown out. And if it was thrown out, meaning the body of the late President Edgar Lungu was supposed to be flown to Zambia immediately, because the body was already given to the Zambian government in the previous court verdict. So that was the hearing. And then obviously the bone of contention were issues out of date. And from that verdict, obviously lawyer KBF, and is also a presidential candidate under the Zambia Prosper Party, he just laughs it off to say, the games, simply giving kudos to the lawyer that you see on screen, the new hire, that was hired by the Lungu family, simply saying he's playing his games right. And obviously people in the comment section, it's raining, Mwema lawyer, simply saying, he's playing chess with the way the things are moving. And if you remember, KBF is accused to be like the architect for Edgar Lungu winning the 2016 elections. And if you remember, he also even alleged to say that's why his relationship with President Hakainde Hichilema was never fixed as KBF. It's because, he, according to KBF, President Hakainde Hichilema pointed to KBF has been the reason why either the PF rigged the elections or they played around with the numbers in the 2016 elections. And according to KBF, he says no, that finger was pointing on KBF, and that's why their relationship could not stand, and that's why he left the UPND alliance. Because if you remember, he had supported President Hakainde Hichilema in 2021, and then he stayed in the alliance, I think, for a year, and then I think in 2022, that's when he decided to step out of that. So those Mingalato, him is receiving an endorsement or passing on an endorsement to the Lungu lawyer, simply saying he's playing serious games in South Africa. These were some of the images from the court here. You can see Makebi Zulu and part of the members from the Lungu family, the representatives and the rest of them. But this time around, no people that are in Zambia traveled. Most of the PF delegation did not travel. Even I don't see given in court in this particular session. So only the Zambians that are based in South Africa attended this particular session. Those that usually travel didn't travel this time around. Probably they're waiting for the way forward. And it came. Attorney General versus family of Edgar Chagalungu matter adjourned to constitutional, till the Constitutional Court determines appeal. So that's a new twist, because the court the court case is currently in the High Court, but it's been elevated to the Constitutional Court, and that's where people are crediting the lawyer, the new person that they hired, to simply say he's playing serious chess here. He's elevated the matter, because previously the conversation was on whether Edgar Chagalungu had left those instructions to his family and those close allies who has been saying no. He had left verbal instructions saying President Hakainde Hichilema should not be anywhere near the body. And then the Zambian government, through the Attorney General and the South African lawyers, have argued to say on what grounds are they using that, and what evidence do they have to say the former head of state, Edgar Chagalungu, actually said that? Because it can just be individuals pushing a narrative saying no, he had said this without any evidence, and pretty much pushing their own propaganda. That's the thing. So when that happened, obviously you can see the PF celebrating, putting up the pictures of the lawyer, simply saying, I mean, he's playing chess. Why they're celebrating is for this reason. One of the things, if you remember, when this discussion was being had, the conversation was that the family was standing on the rights of Edgar Chagalungu, saying he had told them prior to dying to say he didn't want President Hakainde Hichilema to attend the funeral. And if he does attend, he intends to attend the funeral, then they can bury him in South Africa and then move his body to Zambia at some point. That's what the family argues. But the Zambian government argued to say, no, there is precedents and traditions and customs that the Zambian state has, where all the presidents are buried at Embassy Park, and there are protocols and guard of honor, pretty much the procedure around a former head of state is supposed to be done. That's the argument that the Zambian government was putting across in that state. But the new lawyer has changed the whole conversation. It's no longer about how the family feels or whether Edgar Chagalungu had said those instructions to the family. He has pretty much, that's what the argument is using. He's simply focusing on the fact to say, what does the South African Constitution say, and who owns the rights of the deceased? Is it the family or the state? That's a whole total conversation that's coming out, and that's why people are crediting him to say he's a very smart lawyer that has changed the narrative. Because now the fact that it's been elevated to the Constitutional Court, meaning the Constitutional Court will simply focus on those things that are related to the South African Constitution, not the Zambian Constitution, because the Zambian Constitution or the customs in Zambia may state, as the Attorney General argues and the lawyers, to say, yes, this is what's supposed to happen, but what does the South African law says? And if South African law says the body belongs to the family, and that's where the conversation is going, and that's why people are celebrating. You can see Emmanuel Mamba put up an image of the lawyer. In fact, obviously, even the decision that was made by the court earlier on. So according to Emmanuel Wamba, adjournment indefinitely. And the adjournment is indefinite because they haven't put a new date of the hearing until the Constitutional Court of South Africa determines whether this court case is even worth the hearing to, or the body goes back to the family. Pretty much it's the Constitutional Court determining. Now the issue is no longer about sentiments, how the family feels, or whether Zambian customs are not being followed. It's the issue of the South African Constitution. And that's where people are saying he's a very smart lawyer to have taken that new twist. There, obviously, the PF there celebrating, simply saying the PF boys, the Edgar Chagalungu boys, according to supporters of the Patriotic Front, to which George Mtonga responded. He used the same image and had this caption. He said, I have to give it to them, referring to Makebi Zulu and the individuals that you see on the screen to say, and he says, I have to give it to them. They have fought the government. It's very difficult to fight the state, but they have managed to make it a fair game outside Zambia. So simply saying, these guys are doing a serious number on the Zambian government, because it's not easy to fight a state, and they seem to be holding their own, and worse off in the foreign land. That's George Mtonga, obviously. They are weighing in on the fact to say that's not an easy battle, but yeah. So the president's trips are also suspended. Sindai, obviously that's the term that has been used for indefinite adjournment of the case. So obviously they're referring to President Hakainde Hichilema, said that most of the trips is reduced on them and pretty much waiting until we bury Edgar Lungu. So now Smart Eagles is simply asking to say, does this proceed, or the president to continue to hold the international trips henceforth? We wait and see how that plays out. Obviously, these guys are trending as the people seem to be celebrating the new twist that has come out. Yes, the verdict hasn't come out, but the fact that the conversation now has moved to the South African Constitution and the Constitutional Court of South Africa, that's where the Lungu family and the Patriotic Front seem to be comfortable. They feel they're standing on solid ground with their new lawyer. Obviously, Shvetayari weighed in, and then he had this to say. He says, well, the fight is really on. Government should not take it lightly, he says. The coming of the new lawyer says a lot, obviously. Our government is being fought by some external forces using by Esther Lungu. So Shvetayari says, hey, the way this new lawyer is working in court shows that no, the Lungu family has got serious support, and that serious support that they have seems to be fighting the United Party Financial Development government, and the government should be aware and pretty much up their game, because and people have been talking about his track record in terms of winning cases in South Africa. It seems like he has a very high win case. I mean, he has more wins in court than he has losses, if any, at this point. So that's why everyone is like, yo, this guy seems to, yes, he might have dreads, but seems to be standing on solid ground. Obviously, these are images outside court as the people that are standing in solidarity with Edgar Lungu family, who are greeting Makebi Zulu and the rest of the representatives there. Obviously, Sindai means no repatriation. Makebi, Tavesha, Wetata. Obviously, the PF, they are celebrating this new twist in the court case. Yes, the verdict is not there, but it's looking good for them, and that's where the celebration seems to be coming from. Those were some of the documents shared by Emmanuel Mwamba from the court hearing. So people celebrating the new lawyer that has been hired. He says it's worth the dollar. It seems like he's doing his job, and that's a reaction coming from both sides. Obviously, Shvetayari doubled down. He had the live stream, and he had this to say. There is nothing to celebrate, Shvetayari says. The inevitable will eventually come to pass. Edgar Lungu will be buried in Zambia. The delay is just giving temporary relief, but you are big traitors. So you can see the emotions in Shvetayari there. Says, in as much as, okay, fine, you may be celebrating now, but eventually Edgar Lungu will be buried in Zambia. And the question is when? Because if it's now, it's looking otherwise. But if it's eventually, that's the same argument that the PF has been pushing, simply saying, okay, fine, we will wait until when the environment is conducive and they can offer a dignified send-off of Edgar Lungu. So he's simply reiterating the point that the Lungu family has been pushing across. Obviously, doubled down, referring to Edgar Lungu, says, even in death, he has shown weakness, simply referring to Edgar Lungu there with that video of Shaka in his interaction with the leader. One of his Ndunas. Should watch that movie. Obviously, the Lungu lawyer there, that image is trending. They're using it when he was explaining his hair, where you're saying initially when he started using that hairstyle, it was a sign of protest, but now it's simply a hairstyle that he has maintained, obviously, there. And then Kavimba weighed in the issue, because the issue has been trending. Everyone is on the PF side, they're celebrating the new lawyer. And Winter Kavimba had a thing to say. And because if you know, Winter Kavimba is a lawyer also by qualification. And he was also Patriotic Front Secretary General during Michael Satter's time. So he had this to say after he saw a lot of people celebrating the new lawyer. And he says, Lungu bio case adjournment is not a sign of family lawyers' smartness. So he simply says, no, it's not a smart lawyer, nothing like that, as according to Winter Kavimba. And he put up this in an interview, says, former Justice, Minister, and lawyer Winter Kavimba says the Pretoria High Court indefinite adjournment of Lungu family, of the Lungu family leave of appeal case has nothing to do with the smartness of the lawyer representing the family. So he says that's not the issue. It's not that he is smart. This morning, the Pretoria High Court adjourned the leave of appeal hearing case in the Sinda, which is a Latin term to mean it has been suspended indefinitely. This means that the court will not set a new date until the constitutional court resolves the related matter before it. Kalemba stated that, Winter Kabimba stated that this is a routine legal procedure and has nothing to do with the perceived competence or smartness of the new lawyer representing the family. The case centers on Lungu family asserting rights over the body of the late President Edgar Lungu. Kabimba said because the Constitutional Court involves fundamental human rights, the Pretoria Court must prioritize those claims over the questions of such as the legality, entitlement, and conduct of the burial. The Edgar Lungu family case in South Africa has been adjourned sin die by the High Court. This simply means the hearing will remain suspended until the Constitutional Court concludes the case before it. So it's not that the lawyer is smart, it's just that it's procedure. That's according to Winter Kabimba there. Obviously, according to Smart Eagles and News Diggers, that is credited with that news headline. They say it is madness to say Zambia has become poorer under the United Party for National Development, UPND. That's according to government. That statement is credited too. And then the Mass newspaper was carrying this headline, which has triggered mixed reactions from the general public, to say for a big newspaper like this to carry such a headline where they make the small font of the statement and then put it in capital letters and also make them bold, where they say, I impregnated Chipo. This is Chipo Mwanawasa, late President Mwanawasa's daughter. You remember there was that conversation that was circulating, and then the President addressed that issue, simply saying, Chipo is my daughter, I cannot impregnate her. So instead of capturing the entire headline, they said, it is not true that I impregnated Chipo Mwanawasa, that's the surname, according to HH. So people are criticizing them to say, how do they make this say it is not true? They make it in small letters, and then I impregnated Chipo, make it in bold line. Anyway, pretty much it looks like clickbait. So people are saying that's very unprofessional. Obviously, the newspaper has got their own way of defending whatever they did there, but that headline hasn't sat well with a section of society. Daily Nation, Hakainde Hichilema, not a vengeful leader. That's the Imenda, Secretary General of the United Party for National Development, simply saying President Hakainde Hichilema is not a vengeful person, in as much as he was ill-treated by the late Edgar Lungu and the PF and tortured in prison. That's not the reason why certain people are facing corruption cases. That's according to the UPND Secretary General. What is Messi or mandate? Chimba Kambwi's situation. Kambwi's health raises debate or as cause for his compassion intensify by Human Rights Commission stepping in. So you remember Chimba Kambwi's daughter wrote a public open letter to President Hakainde Hichilema appealing that her father be released instead of him dying in prison. Pretty much say they're afraid he's not able to receive the necessary medical attention that he requires while he's in prison, in Chimbwakaira prison. And that's the news, ladies and gentlemen. So the case with Edgar Lungu is now indefinitely adjourned until the Constitutional Court of South Africa determines the matter. So we wait and see how that plays out. And that's where the celebration is coming from the PF section. And another section is simply saying there's nothing to celebrate there. It's simply procedure. This was expected to take place. It's just the issue of the indefinite adjournment. That's what's new. But otherwise, it's procedural. And that's the news, ladies and gentlemen.